I'd like to spend the rest of our time together getting to know you a bit more on a personal level. Can you talk about your previous careers and how they compare to being a college president?
Sure. A number of things. One is I went in the Navy right out of high school to help pay for college. And then while I was in college, I worked full-time and went to school full-time. So I've done a lot of different things, from working in steel mills to delivering pizzas to waiting tables to whatever I could do, because I knew I wanted to be the recipient of the value of higher education. Professionally, I'm a child psychologist, and I'm licensed or certified depending on the discipline in both clinical child and school psychology. I spent time working as a psychologist in school districts, which taught me the value and the importance of our ability to offer a free and appropriate public education to every student, regardless of ability to learn or unique learning differences. Secondly, I worked in private practice as a psychologist, and then also in hospital systems. And then I was attaining advanced degrees along the way, and I became a faculty member at various institutions. Was fortunate to be able to be a faculty member at Harvard Medical School and Baylor University and the University of Kansas and others, where I conducted research, where I led training initiatives and taught, and operated oftentimes clinic or services. I garnered a lot of research money, and as a consequence of that, that's part of your academic capital. Your research, your scholarly activity, your teaching ability, and your service. And then I decided that I was going to lead in the service capacity. So I led an institute that was university affiliated, and it did a number of things. One, most importantly, it served children, up to 30,000 children a year. It met their educational and healthcare needs, children with severe, life-threatening, long-term developmental disabilities and chronic conditions. Secondly, it linked the university system in the state of Illinois for training initiatives. We had a telehealth network, so we could provide services out in rural communities that might not have access to specialists from various healthcare fields. We developed public policy and a platform that went national to help change the way we govern and to help change the healthcare system. And I led that as the president and CEO for 8 years. And about halfway through that leadership experience, and I think was a magnificent service experience, I decided that I wanted to lead next at a college or university. And I began thinking through what type of college and what type of university. So all my experience at that point had either been working a multitude of jobs to pay for college or working as a psychologist to support children, to then leading networks and training and research and service of others, to then wanting to come back fully to higher education. And I spent a lot of time, a period of discernment, thinking about what type of college, what type of university. I wanted it to be faith-based. I'm Catholic, and I had spent time at a non-Catholic faith-based university. I wanted to return to a Catholic university. And I wanted to come to a college or university that the faculty-student connection was woven into the fabric of the college. It's not this way everywhere. Some colleges and universities, if a student doesn't actively pursue a relationship with a faculty member, it doesn't naturally happen. That's not necessarily the case here. So, it's kind of a long story, but let me sum that up, and that is, I came to this college anonymously because I wanted to see and meet firsthand the people of Iona and learn if they lived their mission. Most colleges have great mission statements. Just log on to any website. But what matters is if a college lives the mission. And I met the security guard, and I met people working in facilities, and walked through campus and met students and met faculty who didn't know I was contemplating or didn't know I was in negotiations with the board to potentially become president. And I learned that this is a college that lives its mission. So that's why I chose Iona College, and thankfully Iona College chose me.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever miss working with kids? I mean, you're now with college students who sometimes can act like kids, but do you miss?
No doubt, absolutely. I miss serving children. I still do about 1 or 2 pro bono deep consultations a year. Pro bono meaning I do it for free for a family that that is encountering a significant challenge. It's not enough for me, but it at least has me stay connected to my discipline time permitting, I'd like to find myself at Iona at least once a year in a classroom. I'm working towards that as I work to put other priorities in place and achieve other outcomes for the college. But yeah, absolutely, I miss being with and helping young children and families. I think that's what I trained to do.
When you were my age, did you ever imagine that you'd be a college president?
Only in jest, only as a joke. I thought I'd be a rock star, literally. That's part of how I paid for college, was playing in bands and traveling around the Midwest. So that was my first plan, was to do that, and that wasn't such a good plan, apparently. So it didn't work out for me. But I do remember joking with my friends, saying, well, if I was a president, I'd do this for this college, because we all had a million ideas of how to improve our universities. And then we also joked and jested that we didn't know who our president was. And I thought, well, if I'm ever a president, I want to make sure our students know me and know, and that we have that sort of close relationship. And I think, again, the size and the nature of Iona College allows that to happen.
I mean, I could see you being in a band. You performed at the Coffee House a couple years ago, and you played the guitar with...
And then Spring Weekend, too, with Tyler last year.
Exactly. Right. That's very cool. You should play it more often.
Time.
On Monday, you spoke at the Speech, Language, and Hearing Clinic ribbon-cutting ceremony. You mentioned that the opening of this clinic was meaningful to you because you took part in such services when you were a kid. Can you talk about what it was like for you growing up as a child with a speech disorder?
Right. So I stuttered severely as a child and as a young adult. And I would pray at night about how to find a job or a career that didn't require you to speak. And this is pre-computer boom, right? So I'd move through life, and it seemed like everybody had to speak to one another to move through life. And I worried constantly that I wouldn't be employable. And I rarely spoke because it was so difficult for me. And in school, as a consequence of that, I would rarely ever ask questions. So if I didn't understand the instructions or didn't understand the point that was being made, I would remain silent. And as a consequence of that, I began to struggle academically. And Public Law 94-142 came into effect, which is what required public schools to offer special education. And I qualified for speech services in a clinic much like this one that we just opened, and began receiving speech language services to help me learn how to form, not only how to manage my stuttering, but also because I hadn't spoken much, I didn't form words correctly. So you'd be meeting someone in 5th, 6th, 7th grade that when I spoke, the words would sound very odd to you. And I learned how to speak better and how to speak differently through speech language services. And there's no doubt that those types of services, the services we offer to the community, changed my life, and I know that those services are changing the lives of others because of that firsthand experience.
I mean, I can relate to you because in elementary school and middle school, I also took part in speech services and occupational therapy as well. So.
And now you're on TV talking all the time, right? So it seemed to work pretty well for you.
It has. I've been blessed that I could, take part in that service. What do you do in your free time?
Being a college president, the free time you have, much of it's college-oriented, whether it's going to college events or sporting events or student events or plays. So a lot of our free time is spent at college events. And then there are times when we have a weekend, and it's pretty rare, where there's no activity. And we like to go to Cape Cod with the children. It's a place they know well. We like to ski. We like to engage in a fair number of outside recreational activities. But the nature of being a college president requires me to be here or engaged in college business most of the time at night and on weekends. But when we can get away, we go to Chatham, Massachusetts, and we hibernate and spend time with the kids and kayak and paddleboard and swim in the ocean and do all those great things.
Is that where you did the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge?
I did. I did. That's exactly right. And we're proud of Pat Quinn, and I just saw that he was nominated for Times Person of the Year.
I voted. He's ahead of Obama and Beyonce. He's pretty up there.
It's pretty impressive. And talk about moving the world.
Yes, exactly.
and how to
Living
take
example.
a serious challenge and turn it into a way to help so many other people. Yeah, he's a living example of the mission of Iona College.
What's your favorite place to eat on North Avenue?
I must say that we go down to Gemelli's a fair amount.
Oh,
We
yeah.
think that's pretty great. It's also not that far to walk, so we like Gemelli's. I thought the diner menu was pretty comprehensive, so we missed that. Wish it was still open. But I'd have to say that Gemelli's is our #1 choice, and I think the food's pretty good. I like the environment, and I think they got a pretty nice staff over there.
I like the bread.
Good bread, good bread.
What are your plans for Thanksgiving?
Our women's basketball team plays the University of Kansas at 9 p.m. Wednesday evening in Lawrence, Kansas. So I'll be at that game, and because it's 9 p.m. before Thanksgiving, that game will end about 11 p.m. So I'll be spending Thanksgiving in Kansas City in a hotel. But we're excited that our Lady Gales had the opportunity to play in Allen Fieldhouse. It's a historic place. James Naismith, who wrote the original rules of basketball, was her first coach. It's a very special place to go as a basketball player. So we're excited that our women's team's going to have that opportunity, and we'll be there to cheer them on.
Didn't you go to school in Kansas?
I did. I went to graduate school at the University of Kansas, and normally I would be able to reconnect with faculty and give a few speeches on campus or speak to some graduate students. But Wednesday night before Thanksgiving,
Yeah, it'd be hard.
that campus is going to be about as busy as this campus
Yeah.
Wednesday night before Thanksgiving.
Would you mind taking me around your office? Give me a little tour about what some things mean in here?
Yeah, actually, I'd enjoy doing that. Let's make that happen.
Okay.
So, Kyle, as the first president not to be a Christian brother, I take that transition for this college as a top priority for how we present the college and the things I think about as I'm making decisions and trying to lead this college. So right behind us on the wall here is the cross that was on the exterior of 33 Beachmont, which was the hub of the Brothers community on campus. And we had a fire in that building last year, and that building is going to be taken down as a function of that. But to be able to bring that cross into the building into this office was something that was very important to me. My first day in office, I asked that Brother Driscoll's desk be brought over from Driscoll Hall. Brother Driscoll was a famed brother, had an international presence, and his charism is something very important to this college, and I wanted to permeate my time at Iona. So I brought his desk, and I sit behind his desk, obviously every day, and I work from his desk. On the wall over here is Moses, as painted by our famed artist in resident, Brother Chapman. And then next to that is a sofa that I had in my study in Springfield, Illinois, in my home.
Wow.
And I spend a lot of time here, so we did want to have some home qualities here.
Do you ever sleep on it?
I have. In fact, during Hurricane Sandy, because we started our administrative meetings at 5 a.m., there were a few nights that I caught a few hours sleep on that sofa. And then near the sofa over here, obviously we have photos of my family, but is a ship that's made by Brother Delamuth, and he does these by hand. And you've seen several of these over in the library.
Yeah.
And obviously a very special talent from a very special brother. And he brought that over my first week here as a gift when I arrived as president.
That's amazing.
And then some other things that are in the office that are very important to me. By all accounts, Brother Ligori was a fierce negotiator. There is a fierce negotiator.
I've heard that.
Great talent. So we kept his negotiating table in the office, also in the hopes that his presence would permeate my time here. And I hope someday that when I leave the college, they say, he was a pretty good negotiator. That
Do you
would be
think
a
it's worked
compliment.
this far?
Well, we'll see. I think time's the best measure
Yeah.
of most things. Behind the table are the original rules of basketball, and I'm a big basketball fan. And
I see you at the Iona games a lot with your family.
yeah, we really enjoy going, and we think it adds to the vibrancy of a college experience to have athletics on your campus. And we have great athletes on this campus in so many sports. This weekend, our men's and women are racing for the national championship in cross country.
Yeah,
I fly out tomorrow morning to Indiana to watch them run.
They're always we always win the MAC. They seem
24 years in a row, the men have won the MAC. This year, the first 9 runners across the finish line were Iona Gales.
Wow.
That's an incredible, incredible win. And our women's team, Kate Avery, at the MAC championships, finished ahead of the field by a minute 42. Minute 42. Think about that. Minute 42. You could go get a cheeseburger, grab a soda, and come back and demonstrate your sportsmanship and cheer for the next runner. So they dominated the MAC this year.
Amazing.
And we'll watch them run tomorrow and hopefully bring home a national championship.
That's nice that you get to go and support the team. I know you're a very busy person.
I'll be in and out in one day, but I think it's important, not so much me personally go, but that the office of the president be there to support our teams when we're when we're competing. I think that's important. It's part of the college. I'll share a few other things on the bookshelves over here. Up in the at the left-hand corner is a picture of Bobby Kennedy on the steps of Spelman. He was running for the New York Senate seat at that time.
Wow.
I presented that same photo to his wife, Ethel Kennedy, a few years ago at her home in Hyannisport.
Wow.
I see her each October, and she was struck by it and has it in her home to this day.
Is this supposed to be you?
It's supposed to be me. Our head of advancement gave that to me his first Christmas here.
I can kind of see the resemblance.
Some photos of the family, of course. That flag, I was in the Navy. That flag was flying over Walsh Hall when we brought Walsh Hall down and built East Hall in its place. The black and white of the three young people there in the center is Pat Lynch. He's a board member emeritus and he's an alum, and the LaPenta Lynch trading floor was his philanthropy, as well as the foyer to the library. A very supportive alum. I spent some time at Baylor on faculty there. That's why that football's there. And over to the right are some awards, which I don't really need to talk about. But that, but that.
You're too modest.
But that album there, the Letterman in concert. At least two of the songs were recorded when they were playing at Iona College. So that's pretty great, right? The Letterman
really
are playing,
cool.
and they made an album and
cool.
recorded at Iona College. And some of our championship basketballs, etc. Water polo, we're a great water polo school. And then one of these bookshelves has books where I have either written the book, edited the book, or you've written a chapter in them. So I don't get to the books very often, but from time to time, I'm able to get back and reread some of the things I thought were important and think about how the world's changed and the half-life of knowledge. And those are the things that keep you grounded and keep you focused on why we do what we do.
Talk about your kids. You have three?
Four.
Four.
One native New Yorker, that'll be our youngest. Her name is Evelyn Grace, so she's 2. Charlie, my youngest son, is 6 now. He was 2.5 when we moved to New York. My son Henry is 10. He spoke at inauguration. There's a video of him on the website. His opening line in front of 3,000 people was, and it's accurate, he said, "My dad may not look it, but he's pretty cool." Kind of a backhanded compliment, right? And then our daughter's 13, Hadley, and she goes to school at Ursuline, just up the street, runs on their cross-country team. So we have 4 children, and then they have a great mom. And Mrs. Nyre, or Kelly as she's known, we live on campus, and we try to be present from time to time, and as a family, and try to experience what the students experience. So we eat in the dining halls, we eat at Gemelli's, we eat at the diner and other places. We do that because we want to know what your experience is like. And from time to time, I come into those environments, not going to say which one, and it's not clean enough, or I don't think that it's serving you well enough, and come one day, I make a phone call. And our administrators get on that. So,
do they help you make your day-to-day decisions?
No, but I can tell you a few things. One is that there are some stressful moments leading anything, and there are some moments that have severe challenges or conflict. And when you're in the eye of a hurricane, it feels like the storm's never going to pass. And you've heard me say before, it's not how you show up on your best day; it's how you show up on your most challenging day that counts. We had a team of attorneys in here. We were arm wrestling through something very serious, and the door swung open, and Charlie was 3, had a pacifier in his mouth, came running in, ran over to Brother Driscoll's desk, opened the drawer, and he grabbed a handful of candy and ran back out the other door. And we all paused, and we all laughed, and we thought, what we're talking about here is serious, but it's not that serious.
Yeah.
And it kind of put some levity in the room, and in that way, I guess in a small way, he helped us make some decisions.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Now, when you make decisions, can you help but think about your own kids and how, when you make decisions for students at Iona, about how that might impact your own kids? And do you think about anything personally when you make your decisions?
Without question, it's immensely personal. I think about your health and well-being and your classmates when my head hits the pillow at night, on nights and weekends, when the college is being threatened with weather, or when someone is struggling personally at the college. I think about it a lot. And as a parent, I see the world as a parent, and I see the world as a college president. So when you guys are struggling or when something happens, it's immensely personal for me. So take Hurricane Sandy. We were without power also, and I know it was very stressful for the college community. I'm proud that we didn't close and we didn't say go home, leave. A lot of kids couldn't. They had no place. They're from 40 countries, from all over the United States. And watching and trying to be present and help with our students' struggles is part of my job. Now, we have a lot of other people that are even better at it than me, and they work in student life. But I do see the world through the eyes of a parent, and I think that in some small ways that helps me in my decision making as a president.
Well, as always, it's always a pleasure talking to you and getting to know you a bit more.
It's great to be with you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming over.
Yeah.